grandpa worked in there.
Oh yeah?
That's what he did for a living.
Did you like it?
I don't know, I guess so. A long time. I think it'd be kind of boring myself.
This is the Black Heron restaurant.
So this is actually, the Black Heron is over here. This is right next to it. So this is a fascinating little find in my project. This is 434 Bridge. The sign here says State of Michigan Liquor Control Commission Retail Store. So Michigan became the first state in the Union to ratify the 21st Amendment, which called for the end of Prohibition. On December 5th, 1933, at 6:55 p.m., President Franklin Delano Roosevelt announced to the nation on a national radio broadcast that Prohibition has come to an end. December 15, 1933, the MLCC, Michigan Liquor Control Commission, is organized and opened liquor stores and had liquor available for sale. On December 30, 1933, the Commission opened the first 7 state liquor stores, 3 in Detroit, 1 in Grand Rapids, Saginaw, Kalamazoo, and Jackson. 96 additional stores were opened in 1934. So, of all of the places in all of the city of Grand Rapids, it ended up on Bridge. This again was kind of mid-depression, so I'm sure that they knew this is where they were going to get the most sales. The Western Hotel, again, just some interesting juxtapositions here. This is it here on the left being boosted up. Talking with my boss Tim, he told me that this is considered a Polish flat, which is kind of a technique. If a building needed more space, they just boost it up and build another floor underneath it. So if you look at the arch on both of these, you can see they were successful.
Is that where the fire barn is now?
Yep. Yep. So this down here from Father Morrow, it has 28 apartments and sleeping rooms, known as the Western Hotel as early as 1903, and was operated for many years by Frank Damsky. In the late 1940s, it was also known as the Bridge Street Hotel. The property was purchased by the city and earmarked for the new No. 3 fire station, which was opened in September 1966. So this next one, the KKK marching down Bridge. You can see there's the Western Hotel right there. This is from an MLive article with Professor Daly from Grand Valley. He's dug into this a lot. He's in a few programs. Now, the KKK, from what I understand, decided to march down Bridge. These were white Protestant Christians. So, heavily Catholic, heavily European immigrants. So this is not only kind of a scare tactic, but also a way to recruit the folks who were frustrated on the west side for these Germans and Catholics moving in. It's a way to kind of build pride and get them together. There was hardly any newspaper coverage of this at all, which the city did not want to advertise, so it's understandable. Okay, 736 Bridge, this is an interesting story. Nan Schichtel emailed this to me, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. This is her text here. This is my grandfather's store, Schichtel Grocery, on the west side of the bridge, of the building, and confectionery on the east side. The building was a mortuary before Grandpa bought it, run by a woman mortician. I've heard ghost stories about the upstairs apartments for years. The building was old when it was a mortuary and still stands today at Bridge and National. There was an ice house behind the store that served the west side. The Kennedys might have owned it. That we did not. The store was family run with Grandpa John J. Schichtel in charge and all of his kids working there. LaHaye had been a part owner and worked at the Hub clothing store in Monroe with his cousin, Mr. Gietzen, and shirt-tail cousin, Mr. Kirshner. Thought that the grocery store was a better bet and a bad Menominee. There was a tunnel going under the street from the east side of the store to make it safer for people to get to St. James School and Church and to the West Side Library. So that was interesting. So on the Sanborn I found right here, it says concrete underground passageway. So this is right in front of, this is the priest building of St. James. Here's the West Side Branch Library. If you go over there to look, there is no evidence. I can't find anything there, it's just grass. Here's mid-century Bridge Street. So you can see it's starting to change here. The automobile definitely affected Bridge quite heavily. And then urban renewal. So this is pre-urban renewal, a bird's eye view of the west side. Here's Bridge Street Bridge right here. And then you have Stocking coming up right here. And then post-urban renewal, you can see these highways really divided up the area. Not only did the Depression really affect Bridge Street, but these highways did as well. completely isolated sections of the west side. They destroyed many homes. Had a story already shared about one of the homes here. And then I've got another section that I'm going to read. So I found actually the Wonderland, which is a magazine that the Grand Rapids Press published. They had their own Bridge Street issue. Which I'm going to read a section if you don't mind.
Oh,
Put up the lights a little bit here. Okay. There probably is no one reason why things went sour. Like a giant jigsaw puzzle, a number of negative pieces together led to deterioration and decay. Hyatt Berkowitz feels Bridge Street died of old age, owner of Rogers Department Store. He got his start in the retail business on Bridge Street in 1925 when he went to work at Kleeman's Department Store at 440 Bridge. Kleeman's left this area in early 1960s. Bridge Street went the way of downtown, Berkowitz says. As with any city in the United States, the streets that led off the downtown declined with the downtown. Neighborhoods get old and the people move out to the suburbs. Stanley Kukios, owner of the Red Line and Red Line restaurant chain, blames the freeway that went through the west side and split Bridge Street between Scribner and Turner Avenues. In the 1930s, the rooming houses were full of nice families and working men, and there were better behaved people then, Kukios says. In the 1950s, it was the beginning of a slow death. The city began buying up all the old neighborhoods for the expressway, and that killed it here. John Alt traces the change to the Depression. It started in the early 1930s. If there ever was a skid row, it was along the riverbank during the Depression. Men were homeless then, and you couldn't beg, borrow, or steal a job. By the time the 1940s came along, we had supermarkets which sold everything from meat, bread, ice cream, and vegetables, which were all things you could buy at separate shops. I can remember when one supermarket replaced 3 or 4 shops. It was changing times. Others blamed the automobile, which destroyed the old neighborhoods by giving residents the mobility to travel long distances quickly. With a car, a man could live in the country and drive to work in the city, in the same time it used to take him to walk from his home a few blocks away. In the years following World War II, there was a gradual middle-class exodus to the suburbs, and this national phenomenon brought Bridge Street to its knees. The flavor of the neighborhoods changed, as many of the large, older homes became apartment dwellings for lower-class families. 2-story rooming houses and hotels deteriorated into flop houses for derelicts migrating across the river from the Monroe Avenue Skid Row. So, in my opinion, it was just kind of a combination of all of these.
what year was that article written?
This whole issue was from 1979. And actually one of the most interesting things that I gathered from this is it's filled with hope of the Bridge Street shop owners for the complete renewal of Bridge Street because of the Gerald Ford Museum. So everyone here was really excited. They thought, okay, we're gonna have a major tourist attraction, it's gonna be great, we're gonna be a new Gaslight Village. But that never happened. In my opinion, the highway just divided the two too much and just never spread past. And I'll have this here if anybody feels like flipping through afterwards. Okay, and now there's the current redevelopment. As many people know, Bridge Street, there's lots of construction going on, lots of real estate switching hands. I found this little chain of images up here at the top left. Bridge is not considered a historic district. So as kind of an illustration, I have the Federated Department Store building here. It's a 617 Bridge. There's the signal tower right there. In 2009, it was being worked on, and now here it is in 2016 facade. So, not saying anything about it, just saying that Bridge Street is changing. And we got kind of some maps. The New Holland is currently being constructed. It's going to be huge. It's definitely going to change the look of Bridge Street. It's going to change much beyond that too. And then another one, in all of my research, whether good or bad, it's just Bridge Street has always had this relationship with alcohol. We had the brewery in the very beginning, then the Liquor Control Commission came in, this mid-century era had a lot of dive bars, some of those are still around. The Flamingo, it's a good old place on Bridge.
It's not Fulton, actually.
It's a little west on Bridge. And then now New Holland, and then you've got Harmony, so it's this craft brewery renaissance, again, is bringing redevelopment. So it's just this interesting kind of, alcohol has always played a role on Bridge.
Flamingo's next to where Rudy's Market was.
Okay, and then this was a class that I took recently, so this was kind of the start to this program here. This class, in a nutshell, it's from Grand Valley State University. It's considered an art class, and the professor each semester rents a different property around town that becomes an art gallery. So the students the whole semester use this space, create these art projects as a way of looking at the culture of that area. So we were here at the bread company. It's now like a smoke shop, I believe. So we had, in the baker's racks, we had books here. We had some caraway seeds for you to smell in this thing. We had marbles you could play on this fancy billiard table that we had. So harkening back to kind of the halls. My project, which I'm going to show you next, was on these two computers. We actually went to the city assessor files over at the city archive. We scanned every single image we could of Bridge Street down the hill and put them all in a big chain together so you could kind of walk up and down the sidewalk asynchronously. So I'm going to show you guys that here. Okay, so here's Bridge Street South. Now this is it's an odd tool to use. It's very large, but you can get an idea. If anybody wants to come in, we have them on the computer here. I'd be happy to show you guys.
Don't go so fast.
So there's close to 2,000 images. About 1,000 here on Bridge Street South, and then a bunch more on Bridge Street North. So, if anybody has any time afterwards and want to come play around with it, feel free. Just to give you an idea. So skips, a lot of the city assessor images were taken in the late 30s, early 40s. And then the bulk of the others were from the 70s and 80s. So if you hover over, you can get an idea of what the number of the address was. You can click on it to blow it up larger if you want to see what it looks like.
A neat story about the Cine Mini that's on Bridge Street is the owners that owned the Cine Mini previous to New Holland going there, they wanted to put a penny arcade there for the kids. But they couldn't get the okay from the city commission at that time, so they made it the Cine Mini instead.
Yeah, there's actually a whole interview
True
with
story.
the owner. He was 21 and he owned the Cine Mini. There's a whole interview of him in this, along with the tattoo parlor owner and a few other folks on Bridge Street.
Oh, can you go back to that one, that building they tore down? The one where the New Holland's going? Yeah. I've never seen that, what it looked like.
So this is actually it in the 40s here.
Oh, it just makes me sick. I didn't want that to come down, but I'm happy for what's gonna go there.
So again, with this redevelopment, a lot of these buildings are changing. These images may be the only evidence of what it used to look like back then. The red line.
Now, Drew, are these available on computers up here on our floor or just at the desk?
They're available at the desk. They're on a flash drive though, so they can be moved. I'm in talks with some people to see if anybody else is interested in hosting something like this. I'm sure people would be interested in using it. The person I worked with in that Civic Studio class designed the code for it, and then I did all the scanning of the images, so it wasn't made in library time. Nobody technically owns it, so just trying to figure out something to do with it. But it would be great if something like this existed for every street. Here's the little jeweler.
Tony. You get beat up in there.
This is the Federated building. This is it later, and they got this karate studio in there. One of my favorite things that I stumbled upon here, it's in the 800s or so. I really wanted to show this off. It's kind of awkward to show you guys just because I'm the one clicking, but this building here, It's the Scientific Matchmakers computerized dating service. This was 1977, so.
It's next to Bridge Street Electric.
Yep. I don't know if anybody met their significant other through that. We've got the her fur shop. Houses. Garage, which is next to the bread company. Also the bank, Chase Bank.
Mhm.
Here's
The town theater.
the Roosevelt.
Oh, that's where that was?
This is a theater. It's now, is that the first one?
Was that the town?
Is that the
theater
Jesus Evangelistic building?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
the one that is?
Prior?
So this is just the Roosevelt, this is one of many theaters at the time. This is just the one on Bridge.
What year is that?
This was, again, I think this is in that block of the late 30s, early 40s, when the city sent all their assessors out to get images of everything.
There's most ones in town.
Oh, okay, this is what Chase Bank used to look like.
Mm-hmm.
It's really beautiful
Cool.
Art Deco facade.
What year is that? 30s again?
This is 83. I changed it here. Very modern. 20th Century Market. They've been around for a long time. Here it is.
Oh, they were. Yeah, they're.
Good. Antiques. The depot.
What was the depot?
That was the train depot.
Oh.
That's what we're gonna put Central Station at one point.
It was just a freight depot, not a passenger depot.
It's the actual passenger depot.
I live on Bridge Street, yeah.
Ron Strauss told me it was across the street. It was a saloon and a passenger depot at the same time. So probably made waiting for your train a lot more tolerable. Yeah, there's a lot of cool little stories that came up. When we had this up in the project, people walking up and down the street would come in. And this was a good way to just kind of start talking about Bridge Street. Wild in that story. So this is the Black Heron. This Fleischmann's Yeast bar in the front. And then the that liquor commission store was right here.
So when did that building get divided then? Or didn't you find that?
I
Because it was all one, wasn't it?
Yep. This one is, so in the 80s at least it was divided.
Gotcha.
Some car dealership before that.
Yeah, it was a Dodge dealer.
Ford dealer too.
Yeah, it was Bettenport at one point, Rowden behind it.
And that building's the one that's burnt down?
Yep.
Shamrock, and then we're kind of back near the river again.
And then the best building on Bridge Street.
So I'd say Malone, pastry shop, Swift Printing, old Wyridge building. Sullivan's. And there was a Russo restaurant over here too.
There it is. You want to just go back one?
There's Russo's.
And that's now gonna be Butchers Union in December.
So yeah, so that is that. The other one
Now, where did you say we could see this
This,
strip of pictures?
you can come in, and I'd be happy to load it up for you guys.
Come in where?
Just up here in the
Oh,
library.
on this floor?
Yep, we all know where it is. And we can load it up for you.
Okay.
But, I don't know if the History Commission, if our IT department would be willing to host it somewhere too. It's pretty easy code, so. But I am not a coder programmer. So, this other thing that I want to show you guys, it might take a while. Wasn't expecting as many people, but there's a new kind of technology. Again, based on these stereo cards, it's the same principle where it splits an image up in two, but it uses the gyroscope of the smartphone to allow you to move around and look at it. So, start passing around. It's been kind of jumpy lately, but anybody want to try it out?